The gentleman yields. I now recognize my friend from New York, Mr. Lawler.
Thank you, Chairman D'Esposito, and thank you to all of our witnesses for being here today and sharing your knowledge and expertise on this issue. I'd like to start by echoing the sentiments of my colleagues that we certainly appreciate what OSHA is trying to do to improve safety conditions nationwide for all of our fire service. I think, certainly in a state like New York, where we have a large number of career firefighters, including in New York City, many of whom are constituents of mine, and a large volunteer base, safety is paramount. And we want to make sure that all of our firefighters, both from a health standpoint and from the ability to effectively do their job, have the resources and support that they need. The district that I represent, just north of New York City, as I said, is home to certainly a very large community of active and retired FDNY. But it is also a district where almost all of my fire departments are volunteer. And so I have met with them on numerous occasions now, and I know there is a great concern about some of the provisions that are being proposed for a number of reasons, not the least of which is timing and making sure that there's enough time to review, to digest, to come back with information for OSHA during the comment period. It's why, along with Chairman D'Esposito, we fought to get an extension for an additional 45 days and fought again to get another extension, which was just granted for an additional 30 days. In your estimation, is that sufficient, or should more time be granted to review this? You can each answer it.
So in the state of Maryland, when this proposed rulemaking came out, our state MOSHA office, or our state MOSHA office, actually put together a broad team of stakeholders, brought together our Maryland State Firemen's Association, the Maryland State Fire Chiefs, the Metro Chiefs, as well as the IAFF, to go line by line through this proposal and review every single thing that's in there. We're finalizing our document on what we're going to send, but quite frankly, Maryland took a proactive stance, and each state is required to meet this standard. I can't speak for other states and how they handle business on something like this, but another 30 days will give, I think, every stakeholder enough time to go through this process. I mean, people made time for this because it's important.
Mr. Dennison, has New York taken the same proactive approach as Maryland?
We started back in December trying to get the information out and disseminate that amongst the fire service agencies. It took a while for the traction to be gained, but we've started the process now. We're holding informational meetings across the state. We're getting concerns. We were in your district just last week, sharing some of those same messages. But again, it still amazed me the number of people in the room that were completely unaware of what was going on at this point in time. So, we certainly feel like some more time is needed. We're not just trying to kick this can down the road. We're just trying to make sure that everybody has a voice as this moves forward.
Yes or no, just because we're running short on time. Do you all believe there should be an in-person hearing, certainly a virtual one, but an in-person hearing hosted by OSHA so that they can engage on this with stakeholders?
We certainly feel that there should. One of the problems that we're having at this point is we've got questions trying to understand some of what's in the document, and OSHA at this point is not willing to answer any questions. So we're making statements on things that we don't have true answers. We feel that in-person hearing would give us the opportunity for some dialogue so that we can get some of these things worked out.
Yes or no, Mr. Maruka?
Yes, it would be useful.
Mr. Davis?
Yep, we would actively look forward to defending our members' safety.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
I echo the sentiments of the panel.
Okay. Chief Maruka, the National Volunteer Fire Council did have 2 seats on the panel as this rule was being written. But do you feel that the volunteer fire service was properly represented in this process? and concerns taken into account?
We participated in the process. I think we were surprised at the scope and the scale of what was proposed relative to the process up to that point, and its impact on the small community departments, particularly that half of the fire departments in the United States are in these towns of fewer than 2,500 people. It's an overwhelming burden that's going to fall onto departments that have no budgets and no administrative staff at all.
Yeah, I think many of the standards that are reflected in OSHA certainly have previously been adopted by a state like New York, which certainly has been proactive in being in favor of safety. But I think it's important that we make sure that we get this right and that the input of all the stakeholders is taken into account. So I certainly would hope that OSHA will hold an in-person hearing and ensure that all the feedback is made available to everyone so that we can get it right going forward. But I also think from a New York standpoint, we should be very proactive, as Maryland has been, to make sure there's a coordinated response. I yield back.